How many of you find this time of year, May, early June, to be a hard time of the year? Have you ever thought of that? Do most people really like it? Are you excited by it? Spring, sunshine, holidays, Memorial Day weekend, right? The pool opens. I'll be honest, I just started to realize this, but I think for almost every year of my life, for many, many years, May has been really difficult. And it started with school, because in May, you're finishing up the year of school. So you're kind of wrapping things up, and some of you are kids right now in school, and you know that your teachers are completely burnt out. They don't want to teach you anything more. You got the SOLs going on, and after that, you might as well just skip school. You can tell your priest told you that. They already did the test that they're measured on, so there's no incentive for them to teach you anything else for the rest of the year. So it's like everybody's got senioritis. It's actually really bad. Not just the seniors who are like, we're ready to get out of this thing entirely. And I felt that. And then college comes around, and it's even worse, right? Because you get out early, and it's May, and then you're like, okay, now what do I do? I gotta get a job, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. And then I remember graduation day was supposed to be this wonderful, exciting day. It was really kind of depressing, because it was like, now what? Okay, I did that thing. Now what do I do? It took me a while to figure that out. I had to go to seminary and all that. But every step of the way there's this. And then once you get out of school, then you have work. Now some of us, our work stays steady throughout the year. In my case, this is the beginning of the slow season, right? I had my time with Pascha, with Easter, and now it's kind of segueing into marriage season, which is kind of relaxing, and then summer camp season. So it's a transitional time, but it's still like after all that intensity that really starts in September and doesn't end until after Pascha, finally it's kind of like you feel yourself breaking down. It's over, right, for a while, and you feel that the accumulated burnout suddenly happen. And I get it also, the residuals from my kids going now through the school process, and I see it in them. And we're just like, can't we just go somewhere and get out of here, go on vacation, do something? But not yet, not yet. It's hard. So when I hear these Gospels about this guy who's been paralyzed 38 years, and he's been laid at the side of this pool for Lord knows how long, and he's just sitting there, and it's sad. I'm like, yeah, I can kind of relate. I haven't been paralyzed for 38 years, but every time around this time of year, I feel a certain torpor, a certain, honestly, a despondency, an akadia, as we call it in the Greek. A certain sense of just, I just don't care anymore. Just want to be done with it. Just want to get on. Don't know what to do next. Don't know how to feel. Don't know if I can. You're just exhausted in so many ways. And it happens. And some of us have it at different times of the year. You know, they've said that those who are sick, often they push to get through those holidays, but many people die off right after the holidays. I don't know if you know that, but especially those who are in maybe terminal diseases or illnesses, they struggle to get through those holidays, but then nothing changes afterwards, right? So it's like there's a collapse. It's sad. And we read this gospel and the epistle, and there's these two people paralyzed who are stuck. They're just unable to move. They're unable to move forward. They're in that. Their condition is physical, but it's also very much a metaphor for that type of spiritual state of despondency. And in both of them, one, Peter comes in, right, and says, in the name of Jesus, Jesus heals you. And then in the other, Jesus says, take your bed up and walk. Well, that's easy. That would be nice. I only once ever tried that as a priest. It's not really a joke. I felt, and I was deluded, but I felt very much like I had to tell this man who was in the hospital, he was dying of cancer, I felt, God is telling you to tell this man, take up his bed and walk. That's how I said, what are you doing here? You don't belong here. Get out of here. Go home. Be well. And 3 days later, he died. So I haven't tried that since. I haven't tried that. I was a young priest, stupid. I hope you appreciated the sentiment. I really did do it out of love. The reality is, a lot of times, there is no magic bullet that comes in, no magical miracle that happens for us. But sometimes there is. Sometimes there is. So I don't want to dissuade you from seeing that possibility. And sometimes it's simply God kind of kicking us and saying, get up, take up your bed, and walk. That is to say, get out of your funk. Whatever this is that you're letting yourself get stuck in your head, if it's a spiritual or psychological condition or whatever, an acute depression, whatever you want to call it. I'm talking about a long-term clinical issue. I'm talking these kind of seasonal things or whatever, these moments of burnout that happen to us. Any one of us can experience these things. Sometimes we need to get that little kick. Say, take up your bed, go. Do you want to be made well? Why are you feeling sorry for yourself? Get up and go. And sometimes it's exactly what we need. And sometimes it really is just that easy. And sometimes it's not. If you're wondering, if you feel a certain tension in yourself about this, that's good. Use it. If you're like, yeah, but it's just not that easy. Use that anger. And kick yourself. Get up. Fight. Nobody else is going to do it for you. The gospel shows us this poor man, I'm just laying here, and every time I want to go, somebody else goes before me, and I don't have anybody to lay me in. That is a wonderful explanation of life. Even the people you love the most, that support you the most, that are next to you the most, that will walk with you through hell the most, will at some point not be able to help you with this situation. And you are going to have to find the fire and the anger in you to fight against that malaise, that spiritual despondency, that demon of Academia, which is oppressing them. And in that moment you can say, yes, Jesus, I take that. I get up. I accept your grace. I fight. There's nothing else we can do. There's nothing else we can do. And even if we're physically sick and there's nothing we can do about it, there is much that we can do about our spiritual state. I was, was it on Friday, I think we were talking about the difference between pain and suffering in our book study. I might have mentioned this before, and some of you know about this. In hospice care, which was pioneered by Dame Cicely Saunders, she identified that pain is total pain, that it's not just physical pain, but it also includes dimensions of psychological pain, social pain, and spiritual pain. Meaning, if we feel alone or isolated or disconnected from our families, our friends, that could be a social pain. And if we feel lost and abandoned by God or disconnected from our prayer life and our spiritual life and unable to feel our heart, that's a spiritual pain. And psychological, if we're burdened by the thoughts that have to do with our illness. Like what am I going to do? I'm never going to get better. Nothing's going to work. I'm always going to be this way. These are the obsessive, dysfunctional, negative thoughts. All of this contributes to suffering, to total pain. But what we think of as physical pain is really just physical pain. It's just physical sensation. If we're strong in the other areas, social, psychological, and spiritual, we can endure an immense amount of physical pain. Right? Mothers, you know this because you gave birth. You know that there are certain circumstances in which incredible pain can lead to great joy. And both Father Calciu and Father Roman Braga, of blessed memory, who both died of cancer and suffered immense, painful cancer, still endured that suffering with incredible peace and joy and grace because they had those other areas very strongly uplifted, and they were able to endure. The doctor, the hospice doctor, who I've shared some of his writings with you actually, said that after Father Roman Braga died and they did their examination of him, they were astounded to discover how much the cancer had spread throughout his body, and that there should have been no way that he could have lived as long as he did with the amount of physical pain he must have experienced. I believe Father Calci was a very similar type of situation. They endured physical pain because they had mastered the other areas of pain. They had the strength of God within them, the love of their community, and the clarity of understanding about what life really is. I think we can do the same if we just gave God a shot, if we just started to address the other areas that we can actually change, right? We ask God to give us the peace, the serenity to accept the things we can't change, but we sure as heck should ask for the courage to change the things we can, the fire to change the things we can, and to ask God to show us the difference between the two so that we don't hurt ourselves or others. So may God bless you, preserve you, protect you, uplift you, fill you, refill you, re-nourish you if you're feeling empty, if you're feeling burnt out, if you're feeling what next, what now, is this ever going to get better? Whatever state you're in, pick up your bed and walk. Lift up your eyes and pray. Take up your arms and fight for your life. Christ is risen.